What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new video. I'm actually really excited to make this video because this video is probably going to be very, very impactful. Everybody watching this video applies to everybody watching this. So let's go ahead and jump in. The inevitable stages of success, of Redbubble success. Listen, guys, every single one of us, we're all in a stage when it comes down to Redbubble success, a phase, if you will. And we move from phase to phase to phase. But if we can, looking back at my success journey with Redbubble, if we can understand the phases before we start, or even before we unlock the last stage, then we get some clarity, some awareness around where we're going and where we're heading. And so what I call this really is I call this unlocking the piggy bank. You guys know Redbubble is like a virtual piggy bank. If you do the necessary work to get to that necessary point in time, you essentially are creating this virtual piggy bank that's making deposits into your bank account every month, right? Now, obviously, it's not that simple, and that's kind of why I created the stages video where we expose the stages. Let's go ahead and jump into the first stage of Redbubble. The first stage, guys, is excitement. Believe it or not, people do get stuck in this stage. But what the stage is that people are constantly dreaming of what it would be like to make passive income on Redbubble. They think about it day and night about the potential sales they're going to make or the potential sales they're going to generate. I call this swimming in place. And a lot of people who are in this stage, they tend to, or at least people who are in this stage and who spend too much time in it, they get stuck in it. And I believe it or not, I've only realized about this stage when it came to me consulting with individuals and talking with people. Is back in the day when I used to do consulting, and I would get on the phone and talk to people. Some people were just so excited that they would never start, and they would just dream and talk about it, talk about how amazing it would be, and feel it, and and almost like literally they're stuck in this whirlwind, this tornado of just excitement. It's kind of odd to think about, but it happens. And so the realization here is you got to jump onto the next stage. You got to start. Don't get stuck in this stage. And a lot of people who honestly do spend too much time in this stage, guys, they don't see Redbubble for truly what it is. They still see it as this beautiful thing. And it is a beautiful thing, but it's beautiful in its own way. It's not perfect, but they see it as this perfect thing. And they're in for a rude awakening. Unfortunately, those are the people that are going to give up quick. So if you're in this stage of excitement, go ahead, enjoy it, But you got to move on to the next stage very quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into that stage. The sit-down phase. This is the phase where we start sitting down. We start researching on what's going to be our first design, or how we're going to make our first design even. The softwares that we're going to have to use. The images that we're going to need. The different platforms that we can use to have these images. We start wondering about the importance of things like tags or titling. The idea actually becomes a little blurry to us. Like, we don't understand, like, what is this tags or what is titling? What do they do? What's the purpose of them? And we're not really sure what to even type in the tags or what to type in the titles. And we just don't have any clarity around that, right? That's the sit down phase. Believe it or not, people forget about this phase a lot. And when I say forget, it's a lot of people who are in that excitement phase, they move over to this phase. They're starting to get some work done, and then they get distracted by the things of life. You got to go make dinner for the family. You got to go take a shower so you can go to work. You got to go to bed so you can get to work on time or go to school on time. You got homework to do. You got to bring the kids to soccer practice. You got to, whatever the thing is, right? You start getting distracted by life, and you completely forget to even start, really, or to dive deep at all. This is the phase where, you're on the edge. You're about to open the door. You're about to sit in the room. You're about to get started. But before we truly, truly get started, we're teetering on the edge, and then somewhere we get lost. We forget about it. Like I said, because of daily life. And we drift off, never really conquering Redbubble. It's something maybe we could say to people that we've tried, but we've never really truly tried it. We've never really done anything on the platform. But this is an important phase that you have to really sit down and actually go through it. So the realization for this stage is, in this phase, it doesn't matter what softwares you use. It doesn't matter what your images look like, your designs look like. Nothing matters. All you have to do is you have to get a few designs up. In fact, the best way I would sit here and tell you guys to get rid of this stage and get done with this stage is just go on Redbubble and just upload your first design. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it looks horrendous. Just do it. Just get it done. Just do it, because you do not want to be one of those people that never have, can't sit down and say I've uploaded to Redbubble before. You do not want to be one of those people, because if you are one of those people, it's probably because you forgot about the platform along the way, right? So I'm telling you, this phase is very important. Let's go ahead and jump into the next phase. This is the baby steps creation phase. This phase, this is the phase that takes us the longest to create a design. I've been there. I know what it feels like. Sometimes it might feel like hours spending on just a single design, or even an hour or two. We worry about the small details in this phase. We worry about things that people wouldn't really catch on to, that are not a big deal. Things like, colors or fonts, or, things that just don't matter as much to a beginner. I'm not going to say they don't matter, but we do get hung up on small details. And like I said, at the beginning, guys, the goal is just to create, just to design, just to get things on paper, well, not on paper, but on Redbubble, so that you can actually see your work come to fruition. It's not about sales here. It's not about design quality. It's not about any of that. That will come with time. But this is where people, you guys know, like a baby, when they take their first steps, they're falling every few seconds. They're not really balanced. They're fumbling their way through. This is what I really call the baby steps creation phase, is because we are struggling so much to just have that fluid motion of just creating. We see other people on the internet talk about different creations they're making, different designs, and we're struggling to even get our first 10 designs created because it takes us so long. Don't worry about that, all right? The realization that you have to make is just try to get as many designs as possible, because that's really the goal here. And the more designs you create, the fewer and fewer time it will take in the future to create those designs again. All right, so you won't get hung up as much on the small details after you pass this stage and after you get better through this stage. All right, so don't worry, this is perfectly expected, perfectly normal. Let's go ahead and jump into the waiting stage. This is after you're creating some designs, after you get done with the baby step stage, and it's relatively now understandable about how you're going to make your designs. After we get to a certain point where we feel like the design amount is good, we tend to sit back and wait. I've been in this stage. We refresh our page over and over and over again. We check our emails almost like neurotically, and we're looking any kind of source of sales. We're looking for any proof, any kind of reassurance that our work is good, any kind of sales proof. And for some, this stage comes very early for people, but for some it comes later. It just depends on who you are. But this is really a manifestation. And by the way, if any spelling is incorrect, you guys know when I write these slides down, I'm all in. I'm focused all in. I'm not really caring about spelling or grammar, so just bear with me for that. But it's really a manifestation, this stage, of your desire to make money. And you got to understand that the desire to make money is a good thing, but it could cripple you. It could hurt you long term. And the reason why I say that is because when all you can think about making money, you're going to start cutting corners. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're, a saint. It's going to happen. And that's why, the shorter this stage is, probably the better. The worst thing you could do is sit around and wait for a sale. That's the worst thing you could do. But the more focused you are on perfecting your craft, and the better you understand that the higher quality designs you create, the better you get at tagging strategies, at titling approaches, that's the thing that you should focus on, and that's what's going to help you not only get through this stage, but that just shows it should show to yourself that this stage is not going to last long for you. and that's a good thing. Like, you don't want to stay in this stage for a long time. But like I said, the more you understand that your design quality matters, your tagging strategies matter, your titling approach matters, then you're going to be less focused on the desire to make money, but you're going to be more focused on the actual quality of your work. And you are going to come to the realization that the quality of your work is what impacts your sales, and you're going to wait around less, and you're going to do more work. Now, speaking of the tagging strategies and titling approaches, you guys know I created a course for that, the Redbubble SEO tagging titling course. We have a lot of members, and we're gaining more members every day. And if you guys want to sign up and join, if you feel like tagging, titling is a problem for you and you're not getting enough traffic for your designs, this course might help you. I'll leave the link in the description to the course. The course is currently $39.99. We started off at a price of $35.99, but as I said, as we increase the content of the course, so will the price increase. And so to add that kind of effect to it, you know, the more content we add, the more value the more it's going to cost. So if you want to get in early or relatively early, of course, we already had one price increase. If you want to get in relatively early and benefit from the cheaper prices before we do increase the prices, I'm going to add the link in the description. You guys could go ahead and check out the course. Like I said, if you need help with your tagging, your SEO, things like that, not only for the Redbubble search algorithm, but also for Google, okay? Let's go ahead and get back into the stages here. So we just completed the waiting stage. Now let's go ahead and talk about the discouragement stage. When you get discouraged. This stage typically, first of all, let's be clear about this stage, is that this stage is going to happen to most people, okay? And it typically happens right after the waiting game. Now, this stage really applies to the people who stayed in the previous stage for too long. Like, if you sat there waiting around too long, you're probably going to end up discouraged, and that's only logical, right? The problem with this stage is that when you get discouraged, for some people, this discouragement leads to a lack of belief. It leads to disbelief. Disbelief in the process, disbelief about Redbubble, disbelief in themselves, disbelief about everything around them when it comes to this idea of creating designs, posting them on the internet, and people buying the design on a t-shirt, a coffee mug, whatever it is. They get disbelief around this concept. But you have to understand that people do this. There are other people, on the other side of that computer screen, in different countries, in different states, maybe even the same state as you, or maybe in the same country as you, that they do buy products like this. You have to remember that Redbubble is a huge corporation. They make over $550 million a year from sales like this. And so what I would tell you, and the best thing to do here, guys, is to disassociate with your emotions. This is the most important part, is that when you get discouraged, you have to realize it is because of your work and not because of the world, the reality. See, a lot of people, what happens is when they get discouraged, they call the system a scam. They call the print-on-demand world a scam. They say, it's a scam, it's a scam. I've heard that millions of times. Obviously, anybody who's gotten a single sale can tell you it's not a scam. You can ask all the big gurus on the YouTube that talk about print and demand. It's not a scam. People do make money, all right? But you have to realize where this discouragement is coming from and this lack of belief. It's not coming from the internet. It's not coming from the world, because people, trust me, people are buying, right? But where it really comes from is your lack of belief. And so what you have to do is you have to recalibrate. You have to get back on track. For many, if there's no some source of motivation, they will not create any more designs, unfortunately, and they're going to jump off the platform as a whole until they get their first design, or first sale. And for some people, that might be a year. For some people, that might be a year and a half. For some people, that might be 2 years. For some people, that might be 3 months. Whatever it is, guys, if you are in this phase of discouragement, first of all, you have to acknowledge it. You have to say, okay, I'm feeling discouraged right now. That's the first step, right? The first step to going back on track is you have to admit your discouragement. You have to have some admittance. You have to come to the realization that you are discouraged, and you are discouraged because you are waiting around for a sale. That's the first thing, okay? Even if you were creating designs, you're still technically waiting around, right? You're not taking power into your own hands. You're waiting for people to buy from you, okay? The next thing you have to do is, after you feel discouraged, you have to realize where sales are coming from. This is why I tell you, is it realistic that people can get sales on Redbubble? Yes or no? The answer should be yes. If it's no, then maybe you should do some research on the platform or something like that. But I'm telling you, the facts are real. Redbubble as a website makes over $550 million in sales a year, okay? Now, if it's yes, and you believe that people do make sales, then you have to recalibrate yourself. You have to ask yourself, okay, where's this discouragement coming from? It's coming from my lack of sales. Where's the lack of sales coming from? Is it from my titling strategy? Is it from my tagging strategy? Is it from my design quality? And I'll be honest with you guys, a lot of people get jaded about their design quality. They don't want to be honest with themselves because they think that their designs are amazing quality, but they're honestly not. With due respect, they're just not. So you have to be aware of yourself. And guys, self-awareness is the most important part in this aspect, okay? Massive action stage. After this discouragement stage, this is the few people who jump into this phase. And notice why I say few. This is very important. Because at the end of all these stages, guys, who are the ones that reign supreme? Who are the ones that reign victorious over all the enemy, over all the competition? Who are the ones? Guys, it's the top 20% of people. It's the most successful people. If you got a sale, congratulations. You're in the top 20%. Right? That's the biggest thing to understand, is that the massive action stage, the people who come to this stage, who make it to this stage, are the few who are in this stage. Does that make sense? So if 100 people were in the discouragement stage and they're discouraged, right? Guess what? They move over to this phase, the massive action phase, and only 20% of them are going to move over. Not 80%, not whatever. The 80%, they're going to fall off. They're going to lose. So you have to ask yourself, are you going to be part of the 80% or are you going to be part of the 20%? Now, if you're part of the 20%, you're going to go to the massive action stage. You're going to realize that your success comes from massive action. Massive action in learning, massive action in producing. You're going to produce as many designs as you possibly can. Motivation is going to kick in. Discipline is going to kick in. And usually it typically kicks in through the fashion of online training, a free video, something. You know, I get a lot of comments on the YouTube videos, which are the free videos here, of people saying, wow, I feel now I got the motivation I needed to continue. Or on the course even sometimes is like, okay, wow, I have the clarity I need. Now I have the motivation I need to move forward. You know, there's a lot of different things that motivate people. But for some, it's an online training, a free video, maybe even a realization. Maybe they sat alone with themselves and they sat back in solitude and they thought, okay, this is what I need to do, right? They came to a realization about helping them create profit, about the idea of success on the platform. And the focus becomes realigned. And they become, kind of understanding that it's a numbers game. The more you add designs to the platform that are decent quality, the bigger chance of success you have. The people in this massive action phase, guys, is what they really have, and I call this singleness of mind, right? It is their sole focus. They're on the platform, and I'm not saying their sole focus in life, because life goes on. We have things we need to do. We have people, we have family we need to take care of. We have jobs we have to go, things like that, right? But when I say singleness of mind, I mean singleness of mind on the platform. Their only purpose is to produce on their platform. They only think about how much they're creating. They think about more about the number of designs they've created than the number of sales that they have. Does that make sense? And some may call this an addictive state, an addiction. I call this singleness of mind, pure focus. And honestly, guys, it's the people who seem the addicted, the ones who reach the extremes, are the ones who are the only ones that can actually brag about their results. Let's think about it in life, right? An addict to drugs. Extremely, extremely addicted, right? They're on the left side of the spectrum, where they're all the way alone with the few who are extremely addicted to something. Those are the ones that have the stories to tell. Let's take all the way on the right, the people who are extremely, extremely hardworking, the top 1%, the top 20%, the top 10%. those are, one of the few. They also have an addiction, but in a different kind of format, right? And the results that beget them are different, obviously, but they're both, extremes on a spectrum. And even though that they are extremes on the spectrum, what the focus is that these extremes are what lead to massive results, whether they be consequences that are negative or consequences that are positive. There are always consequences or results in this case. And so you want to be on that spectrum, that end spectrum, that extreme spectrum. And taking massive action, that's what massive action is. I think in the world today, because we have aromatized the behavior of many of the animal instinct in the world, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, basically the world is getting soft. That's really what it is. They're turning people's strength into weakness now. A lot of people who are extremely focused on their work, they're saying they have mental problems, they need to put them on medication. A kid who has a lot of energy in class, they say ADHD, they label them, all the attention deficit, shoot them up with drugs. All I'm trying to say is the world is not going to look at you positively for this. You have to understand. If you're extremely, extremely hardworking in a certain aspect, people are going to berate you, they're going to belittle you, they're going to look at you in a bad way. And really what it comes down to is either A, their conditioning, that they believe that there is truly something wrong with you, which there isn't, you're just addicted to success, or they are doing this thing because of their lack of success, and they feel that, they're not going to achieve success themselves, so they have to bring somebody down with them. The reality is you need this singleness of mind. You need complete focus, all right? And the realization is if you can stick to this stage, then the consistent sales are on their way. They're coming, okay? Now, let's finally talk about the last stage, the consistent sales stage. This stage only comes after the massive action stage and consistent massive action. Nobody can skip these last two stages, by the way. It's not like you can be in the baby step stage and then all of a sudden get consistent sales. No. Okay? It starts by getting one sale a month, then one sale a week, then one sale a day, and so on. The realization, guys, is that you don't get to the stage until passing the 6 other stages. All the stages of Redbubble game are normal and natural to feel. The key here to success is that you have to understand that all those stages are normal. You have to understand that having discouragement is normal, that sitting around and waiting is normal, that taking massive action is normal. And the thing is, guys, with these stages is they come around naturally. They typically don't come by you creating them, other than, obviously, the massive action stage. The discouragement, the waiting, that comes around naturally. You're going to see patterns in your behavior where this happens. So when you have the dark times now, you can look back at this video and you can realize, okay, this is just a stage in the game. The discouragement, it's just a part of the game. That's all it is. And you can kind of move forward from that. So really what the purpose of this video is, guys, is to give you clarity, like I said, on the different levels of the game, the different phases of the game, right? Look at it like a video game. If you guys ever played video games before, look at it like a video game. The final stage, I would call it, is the massive action stage, the boss stage, right, where you have to defeat the boss. It's hard to get here to this stage. It's hard to win in this stage. It's hard to be consistent and commit to this stage. But if you can, like I said, the consistent sales are on their way. It starts off a sale a month, a sale a week, a sale, every few days maybe, and then a sale a day, and then so on and so forth. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully this video impacted you positively. I'll leave the course link in the description. I'll leave all the other links also in the description. The free courses, the free resources. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Bye.